Welcome back down here in the dungeon, breaking down Class 6A quarterfinals. Man, I'm telling you, where does the time go? It's crazy, but hey, how about those Bears, huh? Wow. Well, at least we have something good to look forward to in the quarters this weekend. All right, let's break down 6A. Lake Forest at Naz. Now, I'm excited about this one because I think finally Naz is going to get somewhat of a test this week. And let's face it, it's been 2 blowout wins for the Roadrunners, and again, that's not exactly just ripping on the competition. That's part of it, but part of it is this team is that good, especially in 6A. I mean, this is a team that certainly this year I think can play up in 6 and 7 and 8A if they were given that opportunity. Again, just a team that really is loaded in Class 6A, but they're going to get a test from the scouts this week, and this is a team that, they play in a conference that, and I've talked about this many times, against 7A, 8A sized opponents. They drop down to 6A. They're very tough in 6A. So again, Lake Forest traveling to Naz. I think the key here for Lake Forest, you've got to be able to combat the speed, the size, the athleticism of Naz, and you have to show and really, I think, try to counter what Naz is going to throw at you early on. I think the longer that Lake Forest can keep this tight, avoid giving up the big play, and really make Nazareth earn it. Now, I think to me that's the key. The Scouts have some balance on offense. They always do. They have a very solid quarterback, very solid running game. There's a lot of positives here for Lake Forest. But again, Naz has a type of ability that they can at times really just overwhelm people. We saw firsthand in the game against Joliet Catholic that if you're able to do some good things, capitalize on some of the Naz mistakes, you can hang in this. So again, that's the key for me with Lake Forest. A quick score would be great, really kind of put Naz back on their heels a little bit. When it's all said and done, I'm not going to say it couldn't happen, but I'd be very surprised if this was a lopsided score. I think Naz is really going to have to strap it down this week, tighten up the chin strap, because they are going to get tested from here on out. So, again, that's a key for Lake Forest. For Nazareth, I mentioned, you've got to be able to counterpunch whatever Lake Forest throws at you. You've got to play clean football if you're Nazareth. I mean, any Naz fan will tell you the biggest concern has been kind of the penalties this year and kind of shooting themselves in the foot at times when they could really be putting the hammer down on people. It kind of holds it back a little bit. This is a time where I think we need to see the Roadrunners really play a clean, very solid 4 quarters of football. When that happens, this is really going to be a dangerous, scary team. So to me, that's an absolute key for Naz here as well as through the rest of the playoffs. Now, Hinsdale South at Wheaton St. Francis. And again, I'm not going to say 2 teams that we didn't expect here because, I mean, if you looked at that side of the bracket in the early matchups, to me it was really wide open. I am surprised Hinsdale South is here a little bit. And again, credit to the Hornets. I mean, here's a program, and I'm the first to admit, I saw them probably at their worst all year. And I definitely try to take that into account that sometimes, teams have a bad game. Well, the positive is Hinsdale South has gotten better since then. They offer a lot. I mentioned early on, even the game that I saw them when they played poorly, there's some talent on this team, and they could be a matchup problem for St. Francis. Now, on the flip side, St. Francis, I mean, Mike Fitzgerald's done a terrific job. The offense is very solid, being able to find a way defensively to pull out wins. I know last week, just a wild game against Lakes, but again, that wasn't a big surprise. Lakes was a very good team this year. So, again, offensively, I think for really the key in this ballgame for Hinsdale South, to me it's a defense. The defense is really going to have to step up. You got Josh King and a very good athletic defensive line. They have to get pressure. They have to, with a 3 and a 4-man rush, generally I believe they play a 4-man front. Hinsdale South has to get pressure on Wheaton St. Francis and Clint Bobowski here to really win this ballgame. If that happens, if you see a pass rush and see a quarterback getting flushed out and really getting rushed, that's a real positive in this ballgame for Hinsdale South, and I think a key for Wheaton St. Francis. Got to be able to put the points up consistently, and that's not always easy. Again, you don't know what the conditions are going to be on Saturday at 1 o'clock. I mean, hopefully decent, but we all know the cold is supposed to roll in. Snow, who knows? It's its time of year. So again, and really I think the biggest thing that people don't look at is wind. I mean, especially with a passing attack, if we get those crosswinds again, 15, 20 miles an hour, definitely plays a factor into these ball games. So I think for Wheaton St. Francis, basically execute and then also defensively find a way to get enough stops. But again, tremendous ball game between these two. Dropping down, Lamont at Richards. I mean, this is, again, two programs that really have been arguably two of the top South Suburban programs the last few years. Lamont, undefeated, 11-0, played very well, beat a good Thornton team, beat a good Yorkville team. Now the competition level jacks up again another couple of notches against Richards. So the key in this ballgame for Lamont, I think, is defensively. Got to be able to slow down Richards in their passing game. I mean, Hassan Muhammad Rogers, if he's not throwing the ball, he can tuck it and run. Very dangerous player. Great size and length and athletic ability in that receiver core. Big, big key here for Lamont. Have to find a way to mix things up defensively, bring some stunts, bring some blitzes, really keep Richards' offense and Hassan Muhammad Rogers guessing. That's an absolute key for Lamont. For Richards, mention the offensive side, be able to execute, expect some unexpected things from Richards, from Lamont defensively. But the key for me here for Richards is their defense. Got to find a way to contain Flynn Nagel, which is easier said than done, folks. Flynn is just a tremendous game breaker type. But yes, I am keying and really keying on him because you follow him, generally you're going to find the football in a big play. So if Richards can defend and limit Flynn Nagel's big plays, I think all the better for the Bulldogs in that ball game. And then finally, drop down south, East St. Louis, the Flyers. We told you, this is a team that, again, is battle-tested all year. They play some of the toughest non-conference opponents going. They're on the road, again, at Peoria, Notre Dame. Again, Notre Dame has had a very, very solid season this year. The key for East St. Louis, I think, we talked about playing a clean game with Naz. It's got to be the same with the Flyers. You're seeing the Flyers roll up big points, big scores, and yet they're still getting 100, 200 yards of penalties, maybe a couple of turnovers here or there. On the road at Peoria, Notre Dame, you have to play a clean, semi-mistake-free football to win this. East St. Louis has all the talent, all the speed and athletic ability you would want. If they can pull that off and really, really focus in and play a relatively clean game, they're going to keep rolling. Peoria, Notre Dame, again, a very good season, really just been wailing on some very good teams this year. I think the key in this ball game is, setting the tone early, being able to score early and show East St. Louis that, hey, you know what, we can move the ball against you, we can score. And then we mentioned East St. Louis. If they turn the ball over, good teams make points out of those turnovers. And I think Notre Dame definitely needs to do that in this ball game to hang with a very fast, very athletic Flyers team. So there you go. My keys for this weekend's 6A quarterfinals. See ya.